Hey everyone! If you've been following the news lately, you've probably heard of China's plans to become the world leader in global economic and technological power by 2035. But what does that mean for the United States? Will China really be able to take over the US as planned? Today, we're going to explore this topic in more detail and see if China really can overtake the US as the world's dominant superpower. We'll be looking at the facts, the potential impacts, and the strategies that China is using to make this happen. So buckle up and let's dive into this hot topic. China and USA's economy growth since the pandemic. The days of China's economy relying heavily on export manufacturing are over. In the coming decade, their economy will increasingly rely on state investment, high-tech development, and domestic consumption, as analysts predict. This shift in focus should help China overtake the United States in economic power by 2030. According to the British consultancy Centre for Economics and Business Research's forecasts, China's GDP should grow 5.7% per year through 2025 and then 4.7% annually until 2030. This shift in focus was pushed by Chinese leaders over the past decade, as they wanted the country to focus more on value-added services over traditional factory exports. The Sino-US trade dispute and COVID-19 lockdowns have only added to this pressure. In response, foreign multinationals have been expanding outside of China, targeting places such as Vietnam to avoid rising wages and environmental compliance costs. This should help them head off any repeat of the early 2020 COVID-19 lockdowns that shut down factories. China's economy totaled $15.92 trillion in 2020 and is estimated to have reached $18 trillion in 2021 on export manufacturing growth and capital for new projects. The U.S. economy, on the other hand, reached about $23 trillion in 2021. What will happen if China takes over the U.S.? If China took over the U.S., it would create a seismic shift in the global power balance. With China's vast population, low labor costs, and abundant resources, it could become the largest economy in the world, eclipsing the United States. The implications of this are immense. The U.S. economy would suffer a dramatic loss of influence. Many countries would become increasingly dependent on China's economy, making them more vulnerable to China's political influence. China would have a greater say in global trade negotiations and international lawmaking. This could lead to less economic freedom and a greater risk of hostile Chinese interference in global affairs. The USA's political system would also be affected. The US would become increasingly subordinate to China, and its democratic values could become marginalized. As China's economy grows, it could start to impose its own values on the US, leading to a less democratic system of government. China would also be in a better position to advance its Belt and Road Initiative. This project involves creating a series of trade routes and infrastructure projects connecting Asia, Europe, and Africa. China's increased control of the U.S. economy could help push this initiative forward, potentially creating an even larger Chinese sphere of influence. Overall, if China took over the U.S., the results would be far-reaching and disruptive. Is it ever possible for China to overtake the U.S. economy? China, then, faces an uphill battle. The country is already at a stage where most economies start to slow, and it is dealing with a shrinking population and a lack of productivity growth. It would take a sustained effort to break the 2.5% growth rate to overtake the US as the world's largest economy. Furthermore, even with a sustained effort, it is unlikely that China would catch up to the US in the next decade. The chances of China overtaking the US shortly are therefore slim. China's current place in the global economy is the result of decades of sustained effort and investment, and while the country has achieved remarkable growth, it will take a concerted effort to maintain it. The US, meanwhile, has the advantage of being the world's largest economy and continues to be the leader in innovation. With no foreseeable changes in either country's economic standing, it is unlikely that China will overtake the US until 2060. It is highly unlikely that China will overtake the U.S. economy anytime soon. While China has experienced impressive economic growth in recent years, it still lags far behind the U.S. in terms of GDP, population size, financial and infrastructure development, innovation, and political and legal stability. We hope you found this video insightful. If so, Do give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more such videos. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next video. Bye.